Howdy, it's KK4PYN here again, and welcome to another edition of Monday Module Madness. And today I'm going to try and overcome my thing with left and right on the camera here, so excuse me if I'm still a little bit jerky, because my dyslexia is kicking in. Today we're going to talk about fast prototyping and kits for fast prototyping, modules for fast prototyping. When I say fast prototyping, putting stuff together without burning an actual board. This is a audio amp that I built, and you can see it's just perf board and point-to-point wired. Not pretty at all, but I wanted a little audio amp for a project. This was a quick way to do it. At the time, this was the quickest that I had, so I built up something like that. That's what I call fast prototyping. You're not etching a printed circuit board, you're just doing something like that. Works. If you have to change anything, granted I could have socketed that chip. Let me see if I get some more light over here. There we go. I could have socketed this chip, but you know, this worked. I did it. Took me like half an hour, maybe 45 minutes. If you want to change anything out, it's a pain in the butt. So that's one way to do it. Well, sometimes that works out. This is a perfect example. This is a 555 timer, and it's just set up to run at like a kilohertz. It just outputs a square wave, plug it into a 9-volt battery, and that'll give me what I need. It works good. I use that for signal input to the scope if I need something, you know, checking out another circuit that needs something. Just a quick way to do it. Let's see if I can get it on that. Looks like I'm going to fight with my lighting again here tonight. So that's one way to do it. The other way to do little stuff like that with a breadboard, solderless breadboard. Now this, where did it go? Is that circuit. Pretty much. It just outputs a square wave. That's all I need it for. Checking some scopes out. This, with a little 9-volt battery, I can carry with me to a Hamfest and hook up to an oscilloscope if I'm looking at a used oscilloscope. You can output that to a speaker, very low level, just to see if something was working. You know, 555 timer will drive anything. Need to check an LED, whatever. Hook a 9-volt battery up to it, you got a signal. That's obviously the quickest way, but you know, they both work. And you can get a little bit more complicated on that front. Yeah, if I can find it. With the big breadboard. Now this is my 809850 signal generator project I'm working on, which runs off an Arduino, which is a great way to prototype too. But it just uses these little jumper wires back and forth, and the module itself plugs into the breadboard with stacking headers, like on the back of this relay shield here. Those just plug right in. Shoot. Easy. And then you can break it out from there. So that's a quick way to do it. And you can power up to those, and you can use, let's see, where do we go here? You can use a product like this, which is a breadboard power supply. It gives 12 volts in, 3.3 and 5 volts out. It's just got the headers, plugs right in. Looks like I'm fighting my autofocus here again tonight. Let me see if I can get some more light here. So you can tell I don't have a big fancy video production here. Real bare bones. So here's another easy way to prototype on Arduino. This is a prototyping shield. Now, this was a kit. I got this from Radio Shack. It's Seed Studio, I think. But basically it gives you everything you need. All I installed were the power and data light, just to show that the Arduino was working when it was uploading a sketch or whatever. But you can stack that right on top of your Arduino. And then all these pins here are broken out. And you can use these type of prototyping wires, DuPont is what they call them, to hook that up. Or you could use something shorter. You can get them short like this, you know, to where you can just pew, right from there, right in. You can put your circuit on there. So if I wanted to, I could take this circuit, breadboard it right in here, power it up. I could power up that 555 chip, and then I could take outputs, you know, if I wanted to look at a voltage or something, or you can do whatever you want. But that's all this is. This normally is just a prototyping area. And they got areas for, you know, more headers, potentiometers, you know, whatever. But I just stick one of these on. You know, it's got this self-adhesive tape on the back. Boom. They sell them like this too, so that's a quick way to do it. You can figure out what you're doing, and like I said, in the end, you can make something like that if you don't want to burn a board. So that's what I mean by quick prototyping. Sometimes you need a very specific function to put into a project you're already working on. So you've got a project and it needs a power supply or an audio amplifier. So you've built a small radio, a receiver, and instead of reinventing the wheel, we can just use small modules that are already built to do these jobs. So like for instance, this is an adjustable power supply based off a 7800 series regulator. This one I believe is a 7812. And this was a kit, and now I can give this AC or DC. It's got a bridge rectifier on it. I've got a barrel connector there I can hook up to, and then your output, you got a potentiometer to adjust it. It'll give you 12 volts at an amp for, you know, pretty much anything above 13 volts you put in. Now you can use this with any 7800 series regulator, so you could use a 5 volt regulator, a 9 volt regulator, whatever you need. And this is a kit that I got from Nightfire Electronics. Really well, easily priced. I think it was only like $7, and you can find those kits at vakits.com. VA like Virginia, Victor Alpha kits.com. Like I said, it's like $7. There are no Cala, so I'm here in Florida. I got this next day with regular shipping. But if I needed a power supply for a small project, boom, buy one of those, build it up in, you know, 10 minutes probably took me. Or you can buy them pre-assembled for like $2 or $3 more, you know, and you incorporate that into your project. There's your power supply. Instead of reinventing the wheel or trying to get all this circuitry onto a board that you're already working on, just put something like this in. Plus, if it fails, it's modular. Take it out, put another one in. Maybe you pop a cap, you can fix it. Easy to do. Or if you need an audio amp, here's another version of that same power supply. A little bit different board again from Nightfire. If you needed an audio amp for a project, you could put something small in. Here's a 10 watt amp, and it's got adjustable gain control. Screw terminals in and out. There's your stereo out. There's your power in. This one will take, I think, 12 to 24 volts, something like that. This is a TDA 2030. I believe it's right at 10 watts. Now this is stereo, which is kind of nice. Nope, this is mono. Power, input, and output. My bad. They do make stereo ones, but that'll give you 10 watts. That's a lot of juice, and this is just small. You know, You could do the same thing with a surface mount kit, or if you needed something smaller, you could go with like the LM386, which is undoubtedly probably was the most popular amplifier. You know, you can get them up to like a watt. Here's another little kit. Now this one's surface mount, and that's from Nightfire Electronics as well. The only thing I don't like about it is that it comes with RCA in and out. Now you could just wire right to the board, no problem. But I'd like to see a screw terminal out and a 3.5mm jack in. Probably make that happen. Like I said, you can just wire straight to the board. But this kit was only like 10 bucks. Surface mount. They make the pads really big, so it's easy to work on. You know, I've got hot air at work, but I could have easily done this by hand. No problem with it with a good soldering iron. And you could put this in your project. It's got mounting holes here, you know. And boom, you got an audio amp. Maybe you got an older radio, you want to boost it up a little bit. This is the way to do it. You know, versus trying to make a board. It's just quick, it's easy. You're not going to reinvent the wheel. It's an LM386, a couple resistors, a couple capacitors. Sounds pretty clean, you know. The only thing I don't have on there is the potentiometer. But it's adjustable, or you can just short it out and you get your max gain. So that's quick and easy to do. Now the other thing is microcontrollers. You know, obviously the Arduino is real popular. This is my Samurai Arduino. I bought this from MPJA, but it actually is made by a guy named Thule at SamuraiCircuits.com. He's got a lot of interesting stuff. You can check that out. He's actually going to send me some stuff to kind of review, but this is just your basic Arduino Uno R3, and if you needed a microcontroller in a project, like this is a little board that came out of one of those animated talking like figurines. I think it was Rocky, but you can see this has got a little gumdrop chip on there, whatever you want to call it, you know, blob job. It does, you know, the voice synthesis, then it gives outputs through all these transistors to make the arms and the hands move. Well, we can do that easily with an Arduino. But obviously you don't want to put this whole big board in your project, so you know, we can take that chip out, put it into your board, and there you go. And there's other ones that are even smaller and low power. This is the Texas Instruments Launchpad MSP 430, which when they first released were $4.30. The same thing, I could program this, take the chip out, and put it in my project, boom, you're done. So that makes it easy to prototype something fast. I'm just getting into all this, you know, using a microcontroller and something, because right now I'm working on my Arduino weather station, which I'm still hardware easy, code not so much. I'm not a coder. I'm actually going to buy some older computers, Commodore 64 type stuff, to learn BASIC, just so I can get into coding. But you know, the other nice thing about the Arduino project is if you put an ICSP header on the board, you can buy something like this, which is the FT232, I believe, an FTDI friend, basically, and you know, program it without taking it out of the entire thing. So that's a good way to do stuff. And there's other variations on these things. This is a little kit that I got somewhere. And that's a 5-volt regulator there. It'll use a 9-volt battery. It's got a switch, but it's got a USB out. So this is a very simple way to get 5 volts. If you wanted to put a 5-volt charging project in your Go box or something like that, a small kit like this, 10 bucks, and you got 5 volts. Not very good on efficiency. It just uses a 7805 regulator. And there's definitely nothing intelligent about it. It's literally like 4 components. It does have a diode for protection and stuff like that. The only advantage to this is the 7805 is high VN regulator. You can give it up to like 30 volts, I think. Don't quote me on that, but there's a quick and easy way to put USB into your project. Say your Go Box, you wanted to charge a cell phone, something like that. That's an easy way to do it. And again, that was a kit. If you want to get a little bit fancier, this is something I got off eBay, which they're everywhere. They're on Amazon, stuff like that. Basically, same thing. Screw terminals in here. 5-volt USB output. Okay. It's also got some solder lands there, some solder pads, and a voltmeter for the input voltage. It's got some soft switches on there. I fired this thing up. It works pretty good, and it's very stable. I forget what chip it uses, but it's really efficient, and got a wide voltage range too. So that's another way without building a kit. Plus, you'd have a display for your actual voltage. So put that in your Go Box. Stick the USB port out the side. Charge your phone, whatever you need to do. Or you could use that to run your microcontroller. You need to have a voltage display too. You know, if you had an Arduino embedded into a project like I will in my weather station, something like this, run off a 12-volt battery, give you very stable 5 volts, and it works really good. Now, if you want, there's a stamp. That's the stamp 2 board, and you see how it's got the headers on it. You can put that right onto your PC board, but look at how small this is. This is the thing, and they make Arduinos that are this small too, but this is a real basic microprocessor, the stamp. If you need something to you know, blink a light after a certain amount of time, or check an analog input like a garage door, or, you know, did I leave the stove on, whatever, and then output something like a light or a buzzer, this is the way to do it. Basic and simple. Arduino is probably easier now, but that's because they're making Arduinos so small. This is, let's see, where did it go? This is your Arduino Nano. And again, you don't need this whole thing. This is an actual whole Arduino development platform that you can plug into a breadboard. That little chip in the middle there is all you need, along with a crystal and a couple resistors and a capacitor. So you could easily put that onto your board. On the back here, it's got the USB chip and all that stuff, so but you don't need it. All you need is a little Atmega. That's an ATtiny, I believe. Don't quote me on that. So yeah, you can prototype quick. Don't reinvent the wheel. Stick one of these little modules into your project and just go. You can get this stuff cheap now. When I first started doing electronics, these things were expensive. This is a Nokia 5110 LCD display. Already broken out, headers, and the codes all over to get this to work with your project. When I first started doing electronics, getting an LCD into your project was expensive and hard. You had to figure out all the serial and all that, to me anyway. So you can do it easy now. If you need to do battery charging in your project, I showed you these. This is this little USB lithium-ion battery charger. They're like $3. It'll charge a lithium battery. That's an 18650 with no problem. And you can get the reverse of that. I don't know where it is, where it'll take that and then give you 5 volts out. Look at how small it is. What do I have to compare this to? Huh. I mean, look at it compared to the size of the battery. You know, it's nothing. It's really, really small. You know, mini USB. So don't reinvent the wheel. Stick something in your project that's already built. Buy a kit, you know. Say you wanted some type of flashing display. Here's another kit from Nightfire, the LED beacon. This thing fires up and spins the LEDs around. You can control the speed. And it's actually got a pick in there with a program that scrolls those around. Let's see if I can fire this thing up real quick. I mean, it's pretty basic stuff, but it works good, you know. It works good, and You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It comes already programmed. Well, the wire fell off. But you get the idea. LEDs go around. You can make it any color you want. And there you go. But let's say you don't want this form factor in your project. Well, okay. You can choose not to populate the LED fields when you build the kit. Take some wire, run it out to whatever you're doing. You can put LEDs all over the place. Let's say you wanted a blinking display or just to attract attention. Let's say you don't want them just going around a circle. Well, this pick, if you socket it, can be programmed to do whatever you want. You know, delay those LEDs however you want. It's just got an individual transistor to drive each one. Adjustable speed. Some of his newer, like the LED Arrows kit that he sells, come with buttons that you can use to put into your program. So instead of trying to go out and prototype all this and build up a circuit and all that, which is great, but if you just want to do a quick project, buy a kit. Make a kit. It's easy. This is, you know, you're not reinventing the wheel. I don't know how to program, so just having this simple program to make LEDs go around in circles worth, what, 13 bucks I paid for this, I think? So, you know, check stuff like this out. He's got kits for everything. You know, Nightfire Electronics is where I get all these. They're right here in the United States. The PCBs are high quality. They're made here in the United States also. You're not buying Chinese junk. All the chips are, you know, genuine, and VAKits.com. I mean, check them out. You won't be sad. If you order some of his stuff, it's good stuff. It's not for beginners. It doesn't come with cookie cutter instructions. You know, put R1, yellow, brown, green into, you know, spot. You need to know how to read a schematic. But that's the way to do it. And if you wanted to get fancier with that, this is something I got from Adafruit, which is the TLC 59711 breakout board. Now I just put some RGB LEDs straight into the board, but this plugs into your breadboard, okay? And then you can control those LEDs with an Arduino. You can make them scroll in any pattern you want. You can change the colors. You can do whatever you want. Same thing. Say you want to make a display. Say I wanted to make a big sign with LEDs around it. You know, come check out my Hamfest table. Something like this works. Hook it up to, you know, use the an Arduino Nano. Put it on a breadboard or put it on some perf board and point to point it. And boom, you got an entire solution. And look at how small it is. They're tiny. Not going to take up much room. Low power. Extremely low power. So you could run it all off a battery. So there you go. We're coming up on 25 minutes here, which is going to take me forever to upload with my crappy internet. So I guess until next week, you know, go out and build something. Go out and prototype something. Go buy yourself an Arduino and play with it. The amount of stuff you can do with these now is absolutely off the chain. You know, the genuine ones run, you know, 30 bucks, something like that. But since Arduino is open source, you can go get a clone. I lost it. Samurai Arduino, where are you? Yeah. The challenges of live video. Well, I paid 12 bucks for my, here it is. Or I paid 17 bucks for my Samurai Arduino from MPJ, but you can actually get it for like 12 off his website. Then you got to wait for it to come from China. Either way, you know, 15 bucks you can get them now. And they still use a genuine chip. This is, you know, Atmega chip. So once you get done programming it, prototyping your circuit, pull that out, make it do whatever you want. Check your mail, open your fridge, feed your dog. There's a million projects online that you can do with Arduino. I mean, that's really beating a dead horse with how useful they are, but don't let cost hold you back on these. You know, 15 bucks basically. You can be programming. Software's free, and there's a million examples online of things you can do with them. So That's it. That's my 25 minutes of ranting and raving about these little modules and tiny boards, because I love them. I'm not good at etching circuit boards. I'm not good at programming. So I use stuff like this that's already out of the box made. And it prevents this mess. Because this, although fun and therapeutic, not easy to integrate into a project. Even some of the smaller, more compact ones, sure, they work, but you can buy kits for this type of stuff for nothing now. And you don't have to, they come with all the components you already need, including the 9-volt adapters. So, go out there and build something. Go enhance your next project with a small little module. I'll see you back here next week for Monday Module Madness. 73 for now.